How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Sick Eric Tech, and today we're going to be doing a first impressions of the Moto G Power 2024 5G. Now, this is the T-Mobile variant, but I thought I would check this out, do more budget devices, and for $200, this actually looked pretty good as far as the specs go. You get wireless charging on this guy. For phones that are about $400 to $500, they don't have wireless charging. This is $200 and it comes with wireless charging, 15 watts wireless charging. I believe the Pixel 8 only comes with 9 watt wireless charging. So really nice, big, beautiful display on here, and plenty of RAM and expandable storage on here as well. So we're going to be taking a look at what comes in the box, although not much will be coming in this box, as you can see right there. Very thin box. And we're going to be going on over my first impressions of this device. So if you're new here to Sick Eric Tech, thank you for joining me. Consider subscribing if you want, and click that bell icon. That way you don't miss out on future videos just like the one you're about to watch today. So let's take a look at the Motorola G Power 5G 2024. So going on over the unboxing experience for the Moto G Power 5G. Now, let's see what Motorola has to offer in their packaging for their really cheap, inexpensive smartphone. Now, this is the T-Mobile variant, which is under $200, $198 for this device, but I believe you get a lot for it. You get wireless charging at 15 watts. You get 30 watt wire charging with no charger in the box. Obviously, you do get this nice recyclable cardboard. You get a USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable going way of Samsung, and you get your instructions. You get your SIM card ejection tool. Let's take a look at the device itself. This is the Motorola G Power 5G 2024 edition with this nice vegan leather backing on here. Looks really nice. Actually feels quite solid on here, not hollow, maybe a little bit up here, but it does not feel cheap or hollow. I actually like this feel of this vegan leather. Taking a closer look of how that looks on the back. You get your two cameras over here, your 50 megapixel main sensor. I believe you have an 8 megapixel ultra wide. You get your power button / fingerprint sensor over here, your volume rockers. At the bottom, look at that. You get a headphone jack for all your audiophiles out there. Still like to listen to music using analog headphones. You get a microphone, USB Type-C, one of your speakers right there. Going on over to this side, you get your SIM tray and micro SD card, I believe. So you do have micro SD expansion on this. This is the 128 gigabyte variant from T-Mobile. They also offer a 256 from Motorola. I believe for the money, most people are going to be happy with this type of a smartphone with this device. I was just at T-Mobile getting this. Hello, Moto. I was just at T-Mobile getting this device, and the guy there was like, if he didn't work for T-Mobile, something like this would be sufficient for him. So that's pretty cool. He had an iPhone, one of the new iPhones, but that's just crazy how people just like a phone that does stuff that they need it to do. You get a plastic back, plastic frame, really, really nice design on here. Motorola is really stepping it up with their design on their devices. Here it is up against the Motorola Edge 30 Fusion, again with that vegan leather backing on there. You can see differences in the size. Here it is up against the LG V60, so a very big and tall smartphone the Motorola G Power is. And here it is up against the OnePlus 12R, just to give you a reference of the size. Alright, so I have been using the Motorola G Power 2024 for about a day now, and I'm actually kind of surprised at how well this device performs. Now, is it the fastest device in the world? No, it is not, but still, for most people, this will be just enough smartphone for them. Like, this will get the job done. This will take pictures. This will scroll social media, go to the internet, and things like that. It's actually pretty good when it comes down to the performance. So going on over some of the specs, so you get a really nice 6.7-inch IPS LCD display with 120 hertz on here. It is 1080 by 2400 with 393 pixels per inch. So despite being an IPS display, which is not my favorite, but a lot of people still like IPS displays just because they don't have that burn-in that OLEDs do. It's still pretty nice and bright, and definitely gets bright enough outdoors. That way you could see, and as you can see right here, it actually does get pretty bright. I believe it has a peak brightness of like 500 nits or something. So it's not the brightest thing in the world, but it'll get the job done. In direct sunlight, you might struggle a little bit to view this, but just turn on auto brightness and you should be okay. Now, as far as the dimensions go, this is a really big device, as you saw earlier, especially compared to the LG V60. This is 6.58 inches tall, 3.01 inches wide, and 0.33 inches thin. The weight is actually pretty good. It comes in about 7.9 ounces just because it is a completely plastic frame and a plastic back, but a really nice plastic back. This is how I wish more manufacturers would do plastic backs. No shiny backs. They should do either a matte or a vegan leather, which is what this is, what Motorola is calling the eco leather. And it feels really nice. It adds some extra grip to your device, so it's not going to be falling out of your hand or anything. And it should be durable enough, especially with this plastic as far as drops go. And yeah, it actually feels really nice. You get a side mounted fingerprint sensor, which actually works pretty good. It's also doubled as your power button, and I think it actually works pretty good. You also do get facial recognition, so that's also a really cool thing. If I get it to pick up my face, and there you go, facial recognition also. And then you could also enter in your PIN. So no IP rating on here, unfortunately. Obviously, this is a $200 device. You're not going to get IP68 dust and water resistance, but like I said, this is a budget device. It is running Android 14 out of the box, so that's good to see, but you only get 1 year of an OS update. You're still going to get security patches, but it's only going to go up to Android 15, which is kind of sad. And it's kind of weird because my Motorola Edge 30 Fusion has not gotten Android 14 yet. It's still on Android 13, so I don't know how Motorola prioritizes their devices when it comes down to updates, but Android 14 out of the box. This is running the MediaTek Dimensity 7020 CPU on here, so it's not going to be the fastest thing in the world. You do get 8 gigabytes of RAM though. The GPU is going to be the IMG BXM 8256, so that is definitely a mouthful right there for the GPU. Never heard of it, but that's going to be the specs for your GPU. 128 gigabytes of internal storage with micro SD card support over here on the side, so that is great to see. You can slap your videos and your music all on a micro SD card and go to town when it comes down for expansion on there, so that's pretty good. It should last you quite some time on here. So as you can see right here, the motion smoothness as far as the 120 hertz, it's not the best. It's a little bit jittery depending on where you're scrolling, but it actually does pretty good when it comes down. When you're on the internet, it actually scrolls pretty well, but sometimes for over here on the Google side, it is a little bit jerky, but for everything else, it's going to be pretty smooth. Facebook, scrolling on the internet should be fine. As far as the cameras go, actually, I have not been able to take a couple of shots on here. I've taken a few, but as far as the camera speed goes on here, it's actually not that bad. It's a little bit better than I thought it would be. So you could take some quick shots, and it's actually a little bit of a stutter on here, but not too bad. You're going to get a main sensor of 50 megapixels with an aperture of f1.8. It does have PDAF and optical image stabilization, so that is really nice to see. You get an 8 megapixel with an aperture of f2.2 ultra wide with autofocus. So that is again really nice to see. Front facing camera is going to be a 16 megapixel hole punch cutout up here up front, and that is going to be an aperture of f2.4. You can record up to 1080p 60 frames per second on the front and on the back. So no 4K video on here. You get slow motion video, photos, portrait pro, and more. So when you go into your more, you do get spot color, night vision, so that's nice to see, panorama, scan, dual capture, which means you're able to record multiple cameras, so that's pretty nice, photo booth, time lapse, spot color, and dual capture video. So that's really cool when it comes down to the camera. So I will be putting this phone through its test. So I will be doing a camera review on here. So be sure you guys subscribe and stick around. That way you don't miss out on that future video. So you do get stereo speakers on here, and they actually sound pretty good on here. You also do get Dolby Atmos, so that's another nice thing to see. You can customize your video. You get spatial audio, smart audio, music, movie, game, podcast, and custom. And again, like I said, stick around. I will be testing out these speakers and putting them through the test. You get Bluetooth 5.3, so that's another good thing right there. So going on over to the battery, you get a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. So back in the day, Motorola Powers were considered to be having more battery power, but now every device you get has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. So they're still calling it power. Maybe they should have upped the battery on there, but it is what it is. You get 30-watt wired charging, but you do not get a charger in the box. So that's kind of sad. The Motorola is going the way of Samsung and Apple. You get 15-watt wireless charging on here. Yes, wireless charging for a sub $200 smartphone is insane, and it's 15 watts, so it's going to charge pretty quickly on this device. So that's really nice. So this is the midnight blue color. It also comes in a pale lilac, and like I said earlier, this phone is about $200 on T-Mobile for the 128 gigabyte variant. You can get this off of Motorola for, I believe it's like $260 or $270, but that's the 256 variant unlocked, of course. And it depends on you which one you'd rather get, an unlocked version or a one from your carrier, depending on what you want. If you want something, you don't care that it's locked to your carrier, but you do want it at a cheaper price, then T-Mobile's the way to go. If you want it unlocked from Motorola, then that's another way to go. I will post the links in the description down below. That way you guys can go check it out. So yeah, this has been my first impressions of the Moto G Power 2024. And I have to say that it is actually pretty good of a smartphone. Yes, it does have some drawbacks. You know, it's not the fastest phone in the world, but for most people, it's going to get the job done. So this has been my first impressions. Stick around. I will be doing more videos about this, doing camera reviews, speaker tests, comparing it up against other devices as well. So be sure you guys are subscribed to check those videos out. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And I will see you next time here on Sick Air Tech. Peace.